Yes, he is. He's got hit in the mouth. He's got a little cut there, but that will not inhibit him.
Encouraging day for Casey just to be out there with the team.
It was encouraging. I think he was encouraged. I was encouraged. He looked better. A little better jump certainly than when he left. And I think even to where he was starting when I first saw him hop on the ice. So no timetable, but it's good to see him back at it.
You guys get any more information on Vinny after he left practice early yesterday?
Yeah, we did. We got more information. So he left practice. There was a stop that he made in practice. It didn't feel too good, but it didn't worsen anything. He just felt some pain and wanted to make certain. So we followed up today to see if anything was worse and got a better look at it. And no, nothing was worse. He feels the same.
Have you formulated any sort of goalie plan for the coming days?
We are formulating that. In the short term of the next two games, it'll be Ticker and Andy, Craig, and then UPL. He's got another skate in the morning, but I would think right now the next two games will go to those two guys. In not what order did I say? I apologize.
Dustin first and Craig.
Yes, in that order. Yep. So Dustin will go tomorrow, and the plan would be to get Andy ready for the next game.
As far as Craig goes, he's nearing 300 wins. He's close. You look at the all-time list; he's close to Turk Broda and Mike Richter. All these names. Is he? Maybe not not even got here, but just league-wide, is he a bit underappreciated for what he's been able to do over the course of these last 18, 19 years?
Yeah, I would say. Well, what he's done. I don't know if he's underappreciated or not. I hope he's not underappreciated here. He shouldn't be, not by us anyway. But for his career, I think he has a lot of respect from the people that have been around the game. Like you're mentioning it, so you know because you've been around the game. People that don't follow the game every day, you might be referring to, that just don't track the names you mention and the history of goaltending, could easily overlook and not be aware of what he's accomplished through his career. But obviously you bring it up, and I think all of us that are in it every day certainly have a respect for that and have watched him perform very well for a long, long time.
You never expected to hear Turk Broda in one of your press conferences.
Who's that, Turk Broda?
Turk Broda, yeah, that he just dropped out.
Yeah.
When you look at Anderson,
I'm still trying to figure out who that is.
oh, the old Toronto goalie.
Oh, my goodness. How old are you, Mike? I started to feel really bad, and I thought I could throw that right back at you, Mike. Thank you for that. No, I recognize the name. I apologize to all hockey fans in Toronto. So, I used to work for the Maple Leafs, so I certainly can't bash any.
When you look at Anderson, do you look at, he's 40 years old. You know what he's meant to this club off the ice as well as on the ice. How do you think the next 6 weeks look for him? He's going to get games. He's going to probably have interest at the trade deadline. He's going to decide, is he going to keep playing? How interesting is it just to see what he can do for you in this next?
It is interesting. The guy has a love and passion for the game. Obviously, he wouldn't be playing. He doesn't need to play. He's done and accomplished so much, but it's just out of pure love of playing. Even coming back from the injury and jumping in the net ahead of time shows you. He didn't need to do any of that, and he does it because he enjoys the game still. He enjoys even the practices, the camaraderie in the locker room, and by virtue of that love, he's a great leader because he's gained a lot of wisdom over the years. So the next 6 weeks are. I'm just glad he's healthy. I'm glad and excited for him. Obviously, for ourselves, selfishly, he is a guy that adds a lot to our group, and I'm excited for him. And the hope is obviously he stays healthy. And I think if he stays healthy, you can only be curious about the things you mentioned there. What will transpire over the next 6 weeks for him and for us in that regard.
Make your goaltending plan. How much will you take into consideration the
type of person Anderson can be for Lucan. I mean, just have him next to him, sitting there, talking to him. Will that play in your decision too, just to have the two of them around each other?
It will, but I don't want to push Tokarski out of there by any means because you know Ticker, he's a worker, he's a competitor. There's lots of things that guys, you know, he's a positive guy too. But yes, absolutely. When you think of UPL and you think of, you know, we here's a guy that's talented and we want him to, you know, obviously, you know, become an NHL #1 goaltender would be the hope for all of us. And Andy's walked that walk, and you know, there's something to be said about, you know, having that calm, the guy with that hindsight around next to him. So yes, we do definitely consider, and we like Andy and what he does in that regard for UPL.
I didn't ask you in Vegas, but you went 11-7 that night. Was there a reason for that?
You know what, Lance? I cannot even remember. I cannot even remember the exact.
Your overall philosophy was with using 11-7. You've only used it when you've been in a pinch. But
Yeah.
some coaches.
Yeah, we did it. You know, we did it. We did it in Colorado, and we had to in Colorado. We just didn't have enough players, and it worked out fine, and it forced our forwards to play a little more efficient. You know, when you're forced with that urgency, you tend to play more efficient. You see a game a different way, and I didn't mind our guys, so I didn't mind it going into the Vegas game, but I cannot remember exactly how our injury status was, what it was that night going in.
Do players like that, going 11-7, or do they just
Play,
roll with the punches?
yeah, I mean, you know what? It's interesting. They do if there's more ice time for them. I mean, it really, and it would maybe a player wouldn't like it, Bill. You know, and I'll generalize here. If they had great line chemistry, so you have a line that has line chemistry, but now you're rotating players in. That's one area what they might not like. But if you know if your top line guy is rotating with the fourth line too, they could like it too. So, but all these guys want more ice time. They do, and obviously within that they want to feel good about their game. So if there's good line chemistry and you're interrupting now with 11 forwards, I would say no. That group probably wouldn't like it. But overall, a little bit more ice time for everybody. Yes, they'd like that.
Don, how have you dealt with these 2 days? You had a team that really hadn't practiced together in 7 days. Oh, actually 8 days if we're talking practice. How do you deal with these 2 days to get them ramped up back into things and getting ready for
Yeah, you know, they have to be their timing, their pace, their cardio, and it comes back quick because they have such a strong base under them. I mean, we are talking about, you know, February. If they had that break in September, I think it would be trouble, or October. They just don't have enough of a base. But, you know, I think through that 5, 6, 7 day period, the healing that their bodies can do is significant. You know, just to step back, and then it usually takes them a couple days, which we've had a couple days. So, you know, I feel good about the fact, you know, we talked even, do you get 3 days before that? And I don't think there was a need for that. I think there's a diminishing return. So I think 2 practice days was good. You saw we only went about 35 to 40 minutes. But it was more about getting their timing, their pace, their conditioning back. And we want to play with more pace than we did the last 15 games. And we're going to have to be a little better rested to do that. So that is the hope when I look at the next stretch, is that we play with more pace, more puck pressure, more movement. And I think the rest bodes well for that as an objective to focus on.
Looking longer term, obviously you guys have good numbers on the left side on D with Owen and Dolly. But with the right side, would you like to get a longer look at Casey Fitzgerald, because he is a younger guy who, you know, longer term, you guys are going to need good
Yeah.
right shot.
Yeah, Casey, you know, we have him under contract, I believe, next year. And again, he's a guy I had for 2 years at the National League program, so I have complete confidence in him as a defenseman. And being a right shot, we have Joka Haru, and the rest of our right side is UFAs at the end of the year, I believe. That you probably know more detail on that at this point. But so yes, I mean there is an opportunity for Casey, and because of what I mentioned, and you mentioned as the numbers there, we're definitely looking at him as, you know, potentially grabbing one of those right spots now into the future. He's capable. He's feisty. He gives us some things that that are nice and complementary to the guys we have. He is feisty. He has a presence, even though his size isn't big. He can be in guys' faces that are, even smaller guys in the league that are skilled players. So, and he's a capable defenseman. So yes, he's done a nice job already, and I think he'll continue to progress.
Don, have you had a chance to read Cammie's new book?
I haven't. I'm waiting for it to be sent to me. So
I talked to her
yeah.
yesterday. She, talked about just the inspiration, behind the book, growing up in the family, always wanting to play hockey. What's it like, just as her brother, to watch a dream that she had to write a book like this kind of come true, and to have that book out there?
Yeah, I know she's very excited. I mean, I'm very excited about it too for her. A little bit afraid because some of it is about our childhood, so I don't know if I want to read it yet. But I think it's. And my nephew, our nephew, did a really nice job. He did all the illustrations in the book and helped her quite a bit. So they teamed up, and from everybody I've talked to, it's really neat. From the little bit that I did see, it's pretty neat. So yeah, and I think she did it, for the right reasons. And she didn't do it right away when she was playing. She took her time and thought about it, and had some time to reflect on her life and her upbringing. And the book for her is. She feels pretty lucky that she was able to do and accomplish what she did because it was a dream, and it was a lot of times shot down, and it worked out well for her. So her hope in putting it all together is that it inspires, other young kids, and specifically young girls in a world that may be a little tougher for them as it was for her growing up. So that's kind of the thought behind it, and I love that thought. It's pretty neat to see her be able to do something with that, and I hope it goes well, obviously, for that reason, for the kids that may read it.
I think she used middle names for everybody, so maybe.
What, do you want to know my middle name?
No. I didn't say maybe people.
Not giving it out? No. Okay, thank you.